All right, welcome back to the Net to Net podcast. I'm your host, Sam Kelty, with our other co-host, Casey Kirsch. Caleb is on vacation right now, so he will not be present, but his stuff, we'll hear from him next time we see him. But right now, we're going to dive right in. Today's a big day. We got the U.S.-Uruguay game in the last game of the group stages for Group C, and then tomorrow finishing off Group D with Colombia, Brazil, Costa Rica, and Paraguay, to see who the last two teams are going to advance to the quarters. So there are less teams in this competition compared to the Euros. So pretty much teams bypass through the round of 16 and go straight into the quarterfinals, just because there are only 4 groups instead of, I think, 6 groups in the Euros. So let's get right in. So you already know we're about to start today. This episode's going to be released today before the Uruguay USA game. So we're just going to start with Group C, and we'll kind of track back to the other groups in a minute. But this is a big game for us. Coming off the loss against Panama, you saw Timothy Weah get a red card in the 18th minute, pretty much kind of hurt us. We go down and score about 10 minutes later, weak foot shot from top of the corner from Flo Balogun, and then about 3 minutes and 30 seconds later, Panama equalizes, and then in about the 85th minute, Panama scores again, and then in the 90th minute, a red card for Panama. Caracas, their best player from the Houston Dynamos, gets sent off, and then we end up losing. Casey, how do you think we can go make it through against Uruguay right now?
Honestly, it's a tough one, because I really wanted to say they have the better quality. Uruguay should go through. They should be first in the group, and they should win all their matches. But I think we can at least get a draw out of this game. At least. And I think in order to do that, we're going to need to see the Pulisic that is the Captain America that everyone dubbed him as when he was growing up in the older age of the U.S. team that we remember, that we grew up with, the Clint Dempseys, or the Bradleys of the world, and everyone else. And he's always been dubbed that Captain America, so we just got to see it again tonight. Obviously, we've seen it against teams like Mexico and others plenty of times, but against a squad like Uruguay, who's, I believe, they're a top 10 rated squad in the world right now, if not they're 11, but they have tremendous quality across the board. They don't have any weaknesses, and that's something where it's hard to beat a squad that have players like Valverde, Araujo, even Nunez has been tearing it up. So even though he's missed a lot of chances, he's still scoring. So that's someone we got to worry about.
Yes. So right now,
I was gonna say the last thing we got to worry about. I mean, our defense has got to be the main part.
Mm-hmm.
If we get a goal, I'm happy. We got to have defense and shut down Nunez up top.
So tracking back to what you said, so we are ranked 11th in the world. They are ranked 14th.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So we are ahead of them right now. But don't get it wrong. This is a 15-time Copa America winners. They are tied with Argentina for the most. These guys, no, they haven't won it. I believe their last one came in 2013 when Suarez picked up the golden ball. This team is – it's going to be interesting to see if Marcel Bielsa rotates his squad. That's what everybody's talking about right now. Is he going to rotate his squad? They pretty much have gone through. There is a chance that if we beat Uruguay, we jump them in the standings in the group, but the only way we do that is on goal differential. Right now, they have a +7. We have +1. They could.
If we beat them and score 6 goals, it won 6-0, we'd hop out. Yeah. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. I think if we move on, we're getting second, and then we play the likes of Brazil or Colombia. Yeah. We already played Colombia and Brazil. We got a draw against Brazil, and we got outplayed against Colombia 5-1. That's who we play in the quarters if we move on. But first, we have to get through Uruguay. Like I said, does Bielsa rest a lot of his players? Do we not see Nunez? Do we not see Valverde? Do we not see Araujo play tonight? But then you think about it, if they rotate their squad, then you have the likes of Bentancur from Spurs. You have Jose Maria Gomez from Atletico, who's their main captain. You have a Luis Suarez who can come right in. So this team is loaded from back to top. I'm nervous. We don't have Tim Way, who I mentioned got a red card in the game. A lot of reports say that Haji Wright's going to come in and play on this left side and pushes Pulisic over to the right. Do you think that's a good idea? Or I was talking to Brett about this yesterday or a couple days ago, saying that we should start Reyna at right wing and bring in Musa into this game. What do you think we should do? Bring on Musa and push Reyna up wide, or do we bring in a guy that's had a great season at Coventry? He's been in form when he's played for us, when he's put on that national team jersey. Do we bring in Haji Wright?
Personally, I think we bring in Musa and put him in the midfield, put him in the center midfield. You know, he's still a younger player as well, but he's got loads of club experience. Like, he's been playing with some great players, even though he hasn't had as much of the game time as we would like to see. He's still a quality player, and that's why he's getting all these big moves to the likes of AC Milan. Like, he is a quality player, and I think he should be playing. I think we put Pulisic on the right. He's played there plenty of times. I know he played there with Chelsea quite a few times as well. The little game time he had there.
He plays there for AC Milan right now.
Yeah, and he plays there for AC. So I think he's familiar with the position. I would keep him on the left though. I'm gonna keep Pulisic on the left. I'm gonna bring in Reyna on the right. Reyna obviously that's his. I think his best position is the right wing, if not Cam, but either way, I would put him on the right, put Musa in the middle, keep Pulisic on the left, even though he could play the right. So whatever way we do choose, we'll be fine with selection. It's not that big of a difference. I could see this going either way, but for me, Musa in the starting lineup, Reyna on the right, Pulisic on the left.
Yeah, a lot of people I saw were talking about bringing out Tim Ream and bringing in Miles Robinson. Yeah, I think that's a good idea if we're talking about the physicality and the pace of Uruguay. But Ream is a better defender. He's more experienced. He's played very well in this tournament. I would stick with Tim Ream, to be honest, and not bring in Miles Robinson. I would bring Miles Robinson on if we score a goal and we are going to park the bus, because if you watch the last game against Panama, Cameron Carter-Vicker, who I had great hopes for going into this tournament, looked like a semi-pro to an amateur playing out there. He looked lost. I don't exactly know what actual position he was playing, because you kind of saw him at the back. You kind of saw him at CDM. In the midfield, it was very confusing what Berhalter did. I did not like a lot of the subs that Berhalter made, like bringing on Sargent. I think we could have brought on an Aronson, or a Haji Wright. We have to keep Tyler Adams in this game. He has to play 90 minutes. I don't care. I know he has that minutes restriction with Bournemouth. You have to break it, and you're gonna have to break if we move on to the knockout stage. We have to break that minutes restriction, because he needs to be in there at all times. You saw how controlled he brings into that midfield, and when he's out, we saw the likes of Johnny Cardoza. He struggled. We saw the likes of bringing out Tyler Adams, and it just goes nowhere. You have to bring on, if you bring someone on, you have to bring on Musa. I think he can give you the best physicality and can kind of control the game a little bit. But I think the biggest question here, Casey, is, does Greg Berhalter lose his job if we do not escape the group stages? This is a preview to the 2026 World Cup on home soil. This gives us the best chance to show what we can do with Copa, what we can do in the World Cup with this team. Because about 90% of this team that's out there right now will probably be in the squad for the World Cup, minus maybe Tim Ream, because he will be a lot older. So what do you think? And no Dest at this tournament, but he'll be there next.
As much as I hate to say it, I don't think he'll lose his job.
Not even if we make it out of the group.
some's telling me that like we're stuck with Berhalter no matter what. And like as much as I don't think that he should be in charge even right now, I think that the leaders of the U.S. Soccer Federation they love him and they're gonna keep him no matter what. I think it's not too late, but I think they've already committed to him where it's like you're gonna be our coach. We want you to keep pushing them in the right direction, even with only just a Gold Cup win. But like either way, Copa is the more important tournament. The World Cup obviously is the more important tournament. So as long as he's bringing and he's brought up quite a few. He's been able to help develop some players. You look at the likes of Musa, especially. You look at the likes of Carter Vickers, even though you just brought up how he didn't play very well. But there's been some youngsters that have come through. Antoine Robinson, like there's been a lot of younger players that have come through his program and have gotten better because of it. They shine for the U.S. system where they don't as much at club. But I think they're going to stick with him regardless. As much as I hate to say, as much as I don't agree with it, I think that's what they're going to end up doing, regardless if we lose or not.
Yeah, so far right now, Berhalter, he took over the job in 2018. He's won CONCACAF Nations League twice, and he's won the Gold Cup, and he was a runner-up in the Gold Cup 1 year. CONCACAF compared to CONMEBOL is nothing. We hear, and I'll get into the kind of what Mexico's thinking about later on when we get to their group. But I think I'm the total opposite. If he loses tonight and we go out crashing out in the group stage as one of the favorites to win Copa on our home soil, he's gone. I think there are some coaches that
You think he should be gone, or do you think he will be gone?
I think he will be gone, and I think he should be gone. I thought we should have just ended it when he was replaced by BJ Callahan as interim coach, and then we start that whole process. Everybody know. If everybody doesn't know, the Jesse Marsch situation, they don't talk about it. No one talks about it from his side. But there was dialogue, there was talks about him taking over for Berhalter, and then something happened, and then we kind of disrespected Jesse Marsch, and now look at what he's doing in Canada. They're on to the quarterfinals. Jesse Marsch would have been a great coach for this team. He's worked with a lot of the players at the Red Bulls and with Leeds United. I think he should have got a shout. But if you fire him now, I think we got to go with someone that is familiar with the U.S. system. If that's a Steve Cherundolo from LAFC, who has played with the U.S. As a player, he was one of the best right backs in our history. He knows the system. Honestly, if that's Jermaine Jones, who's coaching with I believe the U19s, U20s, he's getting his coaching badges. He's there. He might be a good shout. Donovan's a coach. Dempsey's doing his license as well. Bring in someone that knows the system. And then Matt Crocker needs to do a better job at picking a coach because Berhalter has not shown. My two top candidates right now are Jim Curtin from the Philadelphia Union or Steve Cherundolo from LAFC, or we bring in a proven European manager. There's the likes of Pep, who said he wants to manage a national team before he retires. Klopp could be out. We could entice Klopp maybe. I don't know. Jose, I don't know. Just someone from a European. It doesn't have to be them. It just has to be someone from a European. Honestly, Zidane, but a European South American. Like honestly, Marcel Bielsa would have been a great coach for us. Bielsa would have been a great coach. I would have taken Bielsa. Or honestly, Tata Martino. If he didn't go to Inter Miami, he would have been a great shout. But the U.S. need to fix something here because Berhalter is not the coach for us. I looked at him when he got hired as that stopgap in between where we are. Our best finish under Berhalter was around a 16 exit in the World Cup. Our best finish in recent years has been with Jurgen Klinsmann getting us to a quarterfinal. I would take Jurgen Klinsmann back, honestly. I know a lot of people didn't like Jurgen Klinsmann, but people said he wasn't a great coach. But
you think we were more talented under Klinsmann, though?
No. I think this team is way more talented right now with the likes of with Klinsmann, we had the Michael Bradleys, the Dempseys, and the Donovans of the world. Outside of that, we really didn't have much. Maybe yes, a Jermaine Jones, a Josie Altidore, but I would rather have a flow
Keep
back.
going, Tim Howard.
Tim Howard. But outside of those players, I would say yes, Tim Howard is better than Matt Turner. I would say Josie is better than Flo. I would say Dempsey and Donovan are better than Pulisic and Weah. Tyler Adams is a little bit. Bradley's better than Tyler Adams. But outside of that, who else did we have? Benny Philhaber, Sasha Clinton.
A lot of fill-in players.
Yeah, Timothy Chandler. We had Timothy Chandler and Fabian Johnson, who were both wingers for their respective clubs at the time, playing outside back. I think Klinsmann would have a much better time and do a better job with this group of players than he would have back then. But yeah, the U.S. need to do something. It's going to take a miracle for us to move on against Uruguay because we need Panama to lose. But the problem is Bolivia has not scored a single goal in this competition, has not gotten a win in this competition, and they have conceded 7 goals this entire tournament. There's no way. There's no way we can pull. We have to win 100%. I know we can win on a tie. We can move on in the tie, but that means Panama has to lose, and Panama is not going to lose against Bolivia. Yeah. So we have to win. But yeah, that is on Group C. Now we're going to kind of talk about the rest of the groups real quick. Big news out of CONCACAF last night. Mexico and Jamaica, 2 heavy favorites in Group B, go crashing out to 2 comparable teams in Ecuador and Venezuela. Venezuela finishes the group on top, 3 wins in 3 games, 9 points, and then Ecuador, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss on 4 points. Mexico, this is the big talking point. I don't know if you were able to watch the game last night, but Mexico looked horrendous. Did not have a shot on target until the second half. They finished the game with 18 shots, 3 on target the entire game. Their first shot came in on target in the second half. You have Santi Jimenez, who scores a lot of goals for his club team, did not score. And we're talking about a Mexican team that Jaime Lozano said, hold up, it's a change of the guard. No Chucky Lozano, who's 20 years old, who still could have done something on this team. No Memo Ochoa, no Hector Herrera, no Henry Martin up front. They say, let's go with the youth. Let's go with the new guard. They have not looked good since, forever. Let's be real. And the Federation has honestly, since the U.S. beat them back in 2021, they really haven't looked good. Yeah. And I talked about this before on the podcast. Mexico has to change something. They're telling the Mexican Federation, they're telling the Mexican League that they need to invest in their league and let them go overseas and develop and then come back. The problem is they're not putting money into the development of the league. You see the MLS growing. We see European teams growing. And I always refer to this kind of analogy of watch the German team win the World Cup in 2014. About 4 years before that, the German Federation and all 3 leagues came together and laid out a plan for success. In 5 years, we're going to win the World Cup or we're going to win the Euros. They win the World Cup. I believe it was like a 10-year plan or whatever. Come together, win the World Cup in 2014. That's what Mexico needs to do. That's what the U.S. needed to do. I just want to hear your take on Mexico and what direction they're going in real quick.
Yeah, I think Mexico has been a big disappointment. I mean, since, like you said, it was 2021 or so. They kind of have that weird gap between their ages. Like, they have a bunch of older players that played in the 2014, 2018 World Cups, and then they have the new generation, kind of like what we have now, except they're inexperienced. They really don't have the game time because the old guard was playing, like you said. And I think now they just don't have a true identity anymore. They kind of lost that, and just nothing's really been able to develop. And again, like you said, they really don't have as much of the European talent as they used to, which is kind of sad to see because although I'm going to root for U.S. over Mexico every time, I remember the great battles between the two with the great talent on both sides. So it was the Dempsey versus Mexico. Now it's Pulisic versus Mexico, but now it's just Pulisic versus nobody. I mean, it's like they really don't have a true team identity. They really don't have a face of the team anymore. Not Chucky Lozano and Choa's not there, and like I really don't know what to say. What their next step is, but I think it's got to be through the youth. That's the only way forward, I would say. They just have to be better as a unit, and they have to have more experience.
And I think they make a change. Jaime Lozano, he's gone. That's what Mexico does if they can't win.
Yeah, he's
and you go out in the group stage like this, you're done. It happened last time in the Nations League in the semis. They fired their coach before Jaime. And I totally agree with the youth. It needs to go through the youth. But the problem is, it's funny to see how everybody says the Mexican league is so much better than the U.S., the MLS, and they're much better than us and developing and a bigger league and whatnot. They bring in bigger players over the last couple of years, but it's not the case. Yes, you have Gignac, who we brought in from France, but if you really look at it, they're not developing their players. A lot of the majority of these players are playing in Mexico right now, and it's showing which league is better. We had a lot of our talent come through the youth. If that's a Tyler Adams from New York or a Weston McKennie coming out of FC Dallas, and then Christian Pulisic coming out of Pennsylvania before going over to Dortmund. The U.S. is producing a lot better, and you're seeing a lot more talent-wise from the U.S. and from our league than we are with Mexico. But Mexico's talking about, we're the better league. But then you look at it, we dominate them in Leagues Cup. In Leagues Cup when we played. Yes, they might dominate us in CONCACAF Champions League. Yes, they beat us really good. But you look at those, 90% of those players that beat the Columbus Crew on Pachuca play on the men's national team for Mexico. And you're looking at it as like, you had Eric Sanchez, who is having a great club season, comes on in like 85th minute. Atuna comes on in the 80th minute. It's like, what are you? It's the same thing with the U.S. What subs are you making right now to help your team? But Mexico, honestly, we could spend a whole episode talking about the fall of Mexico and kind of the rise of the U.S. And honestly, that's probably what we're going to do sometime. But continuing on, talk about the rest of the groups real quick. Group D finishes tomorrow with Colombia, Brazil playing each other, and Costa Rica, Paraguay. Honestly, we all had Brazil and Colombia going through. I think that is the chance. The winners of that game plays the winner of Uruguay, U.S. And then kind of looking at the games that have already been played and moving on into the quarters. We have Venezuela taking on Canada. Like I mentioned, Jesse Marsch been with the with the team for maybe 3 weeks, almost a month maybe, and they're into the quarters. Jesse Marsch is a good coach. I don't know what the U.S. was doing, why they fumbled the bag there, but he is a great coach. I think he would have fit perfectly with the U.S. Casey, I think you could agree with me that Jesse would have been a great coach. They take on Venezuela. How do you think that game panned out against Solomon Rondon and those boys in Venezuela?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a really good game, actually. I think it's going to go under the radar because you're going to see the likes of Argentina and Ecuador, and then Uruguay versus whoever, and if the U.S. go through. But I think Venezuela has been a big sleeper this tournament. I mean, they have a lot of quality players, and even though Canada, they have Alphonso Davies, they have the marquee player. Venezuela, I mean, you look at the different players like Rondon, Josep Martinez, Soteldo. Yeah, they have quality, and I honestly see them going through. Jesse Marsch is a great coach and all. We definitely could have used him at the U.S. Going to be better than Berhalter, but I think Venezuela goes through here, and I'm going to pick them.
Yeah, I totally agree. You pretty much hit everything on the head. I think Venezuela, the physicality of the Combo Bowl guys are a lot better than CONCACAF. And what I forgot to mention is Mexico is thinking about wanting to join Combo Bowl to be able to play with the likes of a Venezuela or an Ecuador and Argentina and the Uruguays of the world. But I don't think that's a I don't think it really matters because you can be in CONCACAF, you can be in CONMEBOL, you can be in Euros or not Euros, and in UEFA. But the problem is, if your team's not good, you're not going to do anything. So, do you really want to move to CONMEBOL and just be the laughing stock of CONMEBOL, or do you want to stay in CONCACAF and still be the laughing stock? It's a lose for Mexico. But then moving forward, the next game we have Argentina, Peru. Not Peru. Sorry, Argentina versus who are they playing?
Ecuador.
Ecuador. Yeah, Messi. He has returned to training after missing the final game with a groin/quad abductor. Now it's a race to see if he can be fit enough to play in this next round in the quarterfinals. But we're talking about a Messi-less team who beat Peru, or not Peru, sorry, beat who did they play? Why am I spacing that? Forget who they played the last game, to be honest.
Chile?
Who they? Oh yeah, they played. No, they played
Peru.
Fudge. No, that was the game that he got
Canada was the
injured
first game.
Yep.
They just played
Oh
Peru.
yeah, they played. Yeah, they played Peru.
They beat them 2-0.
Yep, 2-0 Peru. Lautaro Martinez got the start, which I'm shocked he's not been starting this entire time. They've been going with Julian Alvarez. Lautaro Martinez is literally the top scorer in Copa, and he's came off the bench. If they don't have Messi, do you think they get through Ecuador?
See, I don't want to underrate Ecuador that much. I really believe in this Argentina team, though. I think even without Messi, they still have all the talent in the world just to beat them. They have more talent in almost every position, but they don't have their true playmaker. They don't have the guy who they run their whole offense through. Messi, I mean, as you know, he is the biggest he's the best playmaker in the world. He's one of the best goal scorers in the world, right? Like, he can do it all, as you know. And if they don't have him, like they did in 2022 World Cup, can they really get through too far? And you brought up Lautaro Martinez. He's been ridiculous. He's been amazing this tournament. And like you said, he was off the bench, but he's still the top goal scorer. I think they trust Alvarez because he was so good in that World Cup. Even and in qualifiers, he hasn't been as good in the qualifiers because he hasn't really scored much, but he's still quality. You see him at City; he's still scoring goals, even off the bench too. But I think Lautaro's the right player to start here. I think they can still win without Messi, and then hopefully he'll be fit for the next round.
Do you see them starting Lautaro and Julian Alvarez together and Messi up front, and that means Di Maria comes off the bench? Because you're not messing with the McAllister, Enzo, and DePaul midfield. You're not messing with that, and you're not going to drop one of them into the midfield just because of the defensive liability right there.
Yeah, I could see that. I just think they lose too much width if they do that. Di Maria is going to play out wide, and same with Messi. Even though Messi drifts in a lot, if you play two strikers, I mean, you just really don't have the width, especially playing the 4-back and the 3 midfielders that are central. So I think they would lose too much width. I think they should start Di Maria, and then if they really need to, they bring in Alvarez off the bench and just play through there.
Yeah. So that pretty much kind of previews our thing going into Copa. Now we're gonna switch to the Euros. Kind of run through it. So the round of 16 kicked off on Saturday. We had the likes of Switzerland versus Italy, the defending champs. Italy goes out. I think everybody saw that as a surprise. I know we did. Switzerland came up clutch, and now they play England, who England also beat Slovakia 2-1 going into the quarters. And then you have Romania versus Netherlands and Austria and Turkey tomorrow to get the last 2 spots in the round of quarterfinals for the round of 16. And then on the other side of the bracket, you got some heavy hitters. Germany beat Denmark with 2 late goals. I do think in the Denmark game when it was still 0-0, Denmark the referee made a crucial mistake by not calling a penalty for Denmark, which could have changed the game. or sorry, not a penalty, a goal, which changed the game, which would have changed the game. We also forget there was a 40-minute delay due to rain and lightning during that game, so a lot of people were kind of stiff throughout the game. And then we talk about the next game, Spain versus Georgia. Spain easily handles Georgia, which I think a lot of people wanted to see Georgia beat the likes of Spain, but we didn't see that coming. And then today, France beating Belgium by an own goal from Vertonghen, who the Belgian golden generation is pretty much done, I think, at this point. And then we had today Portugal versus Slovakia, the first penalty shootout of the tournament, with Diogo Costa from Porto saving 3 penalties. It's the first goalie to save 3 penalties in a shootout. And they win 3-0. The biggest talking points is Ronaldo getting his penalty saved by Jan Oblak, and then converting his second penalty in the shootout at taking the first kick. And they have a rematch from the 2016 Euro final that Portugal beat France in, which Ronaldo only played about 15 minutes before leaving the pitch injured. Everybody remembers that from 2016. Casey, what are you looking for from the quarters?
I'm really looking forward to watching Spain, to be honest. They've been the team I've loved to watch this entire tournament. Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams are 2 special players. They can do everything on the wing, everything that you really need, and they're both under 23 years old. Obviously, Lamine is only 16 still, but he plays like he is a veteran, which is crazy. He plays more Brazilian than some Brazilians do. That's how I put it. And that's just because he's such a smooth dribbler, can make the right pass at the right time, and cross it in when need be as well. We also look at the midfield with Pedri, Rodri, and Fabian, right? And they've been incredible to watch as well. Like, they can just control a game like no other. They kind of show flashes of that 2010, 2012 Spain, and flashes. I'm not saying they are, not saying they're even close, but they show some moments where it's like, whoa, I've seen this before, you know? Like, you have to admit that.
Yeah, you see that dominance from 2010 to 2012. They win a Euro, a World Cup, and a Euro. That team is unmatched.
Oh, it's unmatched. I'm just saying, like, you're looking at Spain, you're like, whoa, I've seen some of these passes before, some of this back-to-back play, tiki-taka play, and just like my beloved Barcelona, you see it all over the place. But I think them against Germany is going to be probably one of the best games of the tournament. Germany's also on fire as well. They topped their group with Musiala. He's the joint top scorer right now, 3 goals.
Yes, he is the joint top scorer with Georgia, and he can pretty much, if he scores against Spain, he takes it over, because the top 2 scorers have just been eliminated in Georgia and Slovakia's players, and Georgia's Matazike and Ivan Šras.
Yeah, so Musiala has been tearing up this tournament as well. I think Germany has the capability of winning this tournament as well. It's just, I think I'm narrowing down my favorites for this tournament even further, because I personally don't believe in England. I think they're going to lose. They looked horrible in the group stage. We'll talk about that in a second.
Barely get past
Romania, they've been a Cinderella story. I don't think they go much farther than the Netherlands. Netherlands, they're pretty dominant, but they also have some flaws. They kind of get caught in lapses of like forgetfulness, and they kind of zone out of the game sometimes. It's like, what are you doing? You guys are such a quality squad. What are you like?
And you saw it in the last group stage game.
Exactly. And Austria, Turkey, no disrespect, I don't think they have the quality in order to win the tournament here. But I think Spain, Germany, whoever wins that game, or France, it's one of those 3 teams that's going to win this tournament. I'm going to be rooting for Spain just because the Barcelona boys and just how fun they've been to watch. But it's got to be the winner of Spain and Germany or France. That's who I think.
Yeah. For me, I've been a huge Spain fan ever since Fernando Torres in 2010. That man was a monster. He was so good to watch. Nah, he didn't. Well, he started the 2010, the the 2010,
not in the World Cup.
not in the
No.
World Cup.
Yeah.
The 2012 Euros, he did start in
Yeah.
the Euros. I forget. Well, he came on as a sub in the 2008 ones. Because I remember. But no, I've loved Spain forever. They're my second favorite behind the U.S. I think that it's going to be a pound for pound game. We talk about that. Honestly, I'm going to be centering in on that midfield, the likes of Fabian Ruiz, Rodri, and Pedri versus the likes of Andrich, Kroos, and Gundogan. That is going to be a pound for pound. Who can control the midfield? You talk about a guy. Talk about a Tony Kroos that can break all three lines with one pass. He has been the best center mid of the tournament. I would say yes. He is very.
I would say Gundogan's been better, man.
No, the likes that Kroos has done. Yes, Gundogan plays higher up the pitch, so he's on the ball more in the attacking half. But Kroos controls the game. I think if Germany wins this, I'm going to say it right here. Germany wins the Euros. Tony Kroos wins Ballon d'Or. I'm going to say it right here, right now.
Okay,
Tony Kroos wins the Ballon d'Or because right now, hear me out. Right now, I looked it up. The top 4 right now for Ballon d'Or goes Vinny 1, Bellingham 2, Tony Kroos 3, and Mbappe 4. That is the rankings right now. It's 4 Madristas right now. That's the recent rankings right now of the Ballon d'Or. If England wins, Jude's gonna get it. Let's be real. We just saw what he did against Slovakia. Bicycle
that
kick
was crazy.
to tie the game, to send it to extras, and win it in extras. They subbed them out, and Kane scores the winner. I don't think England wins it. They're gonna bottle it like they usually do against probably Switzerland on Saturday. Vinny, this Brazil team does not look good.
If Brazil wins, Vinny's winning it regardless.
Yes, if Vinny, I think it comes down to whoever wins their national team's tournament. If it's England, Bellingham will win it. If Kroos and Germany win it, Kroos wins it. If France wins it, Mbappe probably not win it, just because how bad they did in the Champions League. He's like the only outlier that probably won't win it. And then Vinny, if Vinny wins the Copa, he's also tied for second in goals. He's got 2. With a bunch of games still remaining, they're going to make it.
He hasn't been that great, though.
He hasn't been great. Yes, he hasn't been great. But I think Kroos wins another trophy with Germany. He's already won 3 trophies for club. He's going out on top. I think they'll give it to him. I think Germany has the chance to do it. It's going to be interesting to see. The thing is with Germany, no Jonathan Tah in the back. I believe so. Jonathan Tah got a yellow card, which got him suspended for, I believe, the quarterfinals, if I'm not mistaken, or it could have been the semis. I can't remember. No, he was suspended for the semis. So the round of 16. He'll be back in the quarters. Slaughterbeck played, but they played very well with him and Rudiger. But I think Tah and him are 2 good pieces. Then you mentioned the likes of Nico Williams, Lamine Yamal. Phenomenal, but then you saw Germany go out and put in Sané instead of Wirtz, so it was Musiala and Sané instead of Wirtz, which we've seen in the last 2 games, Wirtz and Musiala. Young players going up against each other. My thing, I think it comes down, I think Spain edges out. I think Spain beats Germany just because who does Germany play up front? Is it Havertz? Is it Volker? Is it Thomas Muller?
Doesn't matter. Not. They both have 2 goals. Each.
And then with Spain, you already know who's playing up front. It's Alvaro Morata, the leading scorer for Spain in the Euros. He has the most goals in Euros for Spain. He's a talisman. It will be between those 2 teams. And like you mentioned, I think it's between those 2 teams and France and Portugal. Friday's going to be fun because at 12 o'clock you got the Spain-Germany game, and then at 3 you got the Portugal-France game. I have that day off. I'm going to be watching soccer all day.
Hey, it's an optional day of work for me, man. So I might have a game.
I took it off. I get PTO. I'm watching these games.
Let me ask you this, Sam. To Portugal, right?
Yes.
They didn't look very good in this past game today.
No.
Ronaldo obviously missed his penalty.
Yep. Costa came up big and we're not even talking
about
Costa's.
What will the people say if Portugal goes on to win the Euros and Ronaldo is named player of the tournament?
Does he score at all on this run?
Oh, he's got to. Yeah, he has to. He
Yes.
definitely has
Yeah.
to.
That's the only way he'll win the Golden Ball.
Yeah.
Player of the tournament if he scores. I think he's going to want to score against France. We forget that he didn't get to play against France really in the first Euros when they played in 2016. He got injured due to a tackle with Payet. He's going to want redemption. He's going to want this. He wants this. And I know you didn't get to watch the game, but you saw how emotional he got when he missed his pen. It shows how much he wants it. He could have been the oldest scoring player in the Euros. He wants this bad because he doesn't know how much more longer he's going to play at this level. Same with Messi. I think they both want this. They both want this tournaments in their respective tournaments. We talk about. I think if he scores, he will not get player of the tournament. I love Ronaldo. He's the greatest of all time. He can do no wrong. But hear me out. If they win this tournament, he will not get player of the tournament. I think it goes.
Who would?
Diogo Costa. What he has done in this tournament to keep them in this. We see that one-on-one save against Shar in Slovakia.
He would get the Golden Glove.
I think he'll get Golden Glove and player of the tournament. And honestly, if we look at it, Pepe has played better than Ronaldo this tournament right now. Look what he has done. You played two games in the group stage. Don't concede a goal. Play lockdown defense. He doesn't play in the last group. They lose. Yes, they rotated the squad heavily. No Ruben Diaz, no Pepe. But you're thinking about the oldest player playing in this tournament, playing at the highest level still. And yes, today he played very well. He had one mistake, and it was when he slipped on the grass and Shar took the ball from him and was in. But guess what? Diogo Costa was there. He saved a one-on-one in I think it was the 115th minute of extra time. He saves them. Costa has been the unsung hero of this tournament. He has kept him in games. If this is a Rui Patricio, it ain't going well. It's a Jose Sa. Ronaldo would have to score 3 hat tricks
every game
in each game. In all 3 games, he would have to score a hat trick to get player. I just don't think he will because he's not mobile as much as anymore. He's more of that in the box predator,
he's a poacher.
He's a poacher now. He's not. Yes, you'll see a couple skills from him here and there, but you're not going to see what we used to saw at Madrid and what we saw at Juventus and before then at the Man United his first time there. It's not the same. It's the same with Messi. We don't see what they used to be, and that's just because they're older.
Yeah.
They're 40, 37 respectively. The stats aren't there anymore, but I think it's between those 2 teams, and then honestly, it's a cakewalk for England to make it to the finals. If they fumble it against Switzerland, which I could see happening, who knows? We all know the winners are in the other side of the bracket. We all know the winners are on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah.
You had Spain, Germany, France, Belgium, and Portugal all on one side. It was gonna come from one of those teams. We all knew it.
England always getting lucky.
Yeah, it's England on one side usually, and then Belgium always. Belgium and England are the 2 teams that fumble the bag too much, and we saw it today. Belgium, no Courtois, you lose. Just all I gotta say.
They're done. Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, before we move on to talk about a little MLS, I want to ask Casey who your best performers are from Copa and the Euros. Mine, for me, have to be James Rodriguez, what he's done for Copa, what he's done for Colombia, top assister, should have had a goal or 2 in the group stage play, gave the penalty to Luis Diaz and missed a couple shots, but he has been outstanding for me in Copa for not playing that many games for Sao Paulo at club level. It's whatever. When he puts on the jersey, he's ready to play. And then at the Euros, I got to go with your boy, Lamine Yamal. 16-year-old, sets the world on fire. We could have been saying Endrick, but Endrick really hasn't been playing for Brazil. So I'm going James and I'm going Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, and that's fair. For me, though, I think Copa-wise, it's got to be Lautaro. It's got to be. He's got 4 goals. He's got
Yeah.
the next highest is 2 goals with Darwin Nunez,
Mm-hmm.
Edward Bello from Venezuela. But
Yep.
Lautaro's just been unreal this tournament. I mean, like I said earlier, he can score goals like not many can, and he's in his prime. Like you can tell, like when he's playing at Inter Milan, like he's unstoppable. When he's on Argentina, he's unstoppable now. Like he didn't used to be either. Like you saw when back in the World Cup, he missed a few sitters that Messi just put on a platter for him. But now he's scoring everything that even gets close to the box. So I'm thinking it's got to be Lautaro Martinez for at least the Copa so far. And when we switch over to the Euros, it's got to be one of the Germany boys, and I think it's got to be Musiala. He just looked like a wizard this whole tournament so far, and he's got the skills, the passing, the scoring. He's got everything. So, and now that he's playing with other quality players as well, he's still the dominant piece for that Germany team. I would have liked to say Gundogan just because he's been controlling the midfield a lot. He's been kind of a connector and a leader for that group in Germany. Like you saw back when he played at Man City and he led that City group to the treble. But, I got to say Musiala, he's still young. He's just looked incredible, and I don't think anyone's looked better than him at this tournament so far.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are 2 great shouts. I think all 4 of our both of our picks have been great shouts. And then kind of ending this episode real quick, we always got to talk about our Columbus Crew.
Yep.
Columbus came out and played Caleb Porter in the New England Revolution. A lot of history there with the Crew and Caleb Porter. Caleb Porter got us one of our stars. And then you got the Nagby Porter storyline here. Nagby and Porter have known each other since he was 15 years old. Played at Akron together. Played at Akron when he coached. He played at the Timbers. Nagby's one of the best. They go out and quickly we get scored on by Emmanuel Boateng, and then the Crew just dominate. We see goals from Cucho. We see goals from Diego Rossi. Max Arson had a banger. Camacho and Morier. They all get in the scoring, and we talk about Cucho, Rossi, Camacho, and Morier. All 4 of those boys are going to the All-Star Game in Columbus.
Yes, sir.
We're very excited. This is a very headlining team. Nancy is going to
Nagby too.
And Nagby. He was a commissioner pick. He is in the All-Star Game. So they beat the Revolution 5-1. Revolution came on hot. They won 5 in a row, 6 in a row, I believe. They were at the bottom of the East, and now they're at one of the top spots. They beat the Supporter Shield holders from last week against FCC. Crew have been moving. We did lose Aiden Morris, unfortunately. I know Casey was at that game, his last game. Yep. It was probably emotional for him.
Very sad.
Headed to Middlesbrough. He'll be doing some great things, but kind of touching on the All-Star Game real quick. Nancy is the coach. There was fan voting in, players being selected by coach and commissioner. So you're going to see a headliner players, just some names that have played in Europe. Roman Berkey, Hugo Lloris, Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, Miles Robinson's in there from the Team USA, for the FCC, Luciano Costa, Busquets, who I mentioned, Evander, Hector Herrera, Honey Mukhtar, Darlington Nabby, Ricky Pooch, Cucho Hernandez, Chinko Arango, Benteke Bwanga, and the 2 headliners, other than Diego Rossi, we have the great Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez. It should be an interesting time. This is the 3rd encounter this year. It will be Team MLS versus Liga MX All-Stars for the 3rd time since 2022. MLS has beaten Mexican All-Stars both times, winning in LA and winning in Minnesota. Do you see MLS winning again?
I think so. I think our talent is just way too much. And even if we don't have Messi playing, even if we don't have Suarez playing, even if we don't have Busquets play, it doesn't matter. We have talent across the board that I think our top tier talent is just much better than that Liga MX. And I think the reason why people say League MX is a better league is because every player in that league could play in the MLS, but I don't think every player in the MLS could play in the League MX. It's more of a balanced league, I would say, whereas we have your stars and then your role players, kind of like other leagues in the U.S. as well. But I think our top tier talent, especially the ones that you see on that All-Star team, I think we could take League MX all day.
Yeah, I think so. And I didn't even mention Federico Bernardeschi, another former Italian for the national team. And Messi and Suarez could be playing Copa America.
Playing, it's going to be
Copa America does wrap up on July 14th. It depends on if they give them a break in between. I know they do have Leagues Cup at the end of July, so there is a chance that they do not play in this MLS All-Star game because it doesn't really matter compared to the Leagues Cup against Mexican teams and Liga MX, and then they have to push for MLS playoffs. But that pretty much wraps up our episode today. Hope you guys enjoyed. We're gonna
got one more thing
to
say real quick before we wrap up here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Columbus Crew, going back to the Columbus Crew. We have won 6 of our last 7 games, okay? We are on a huge streak right now, and although I did see Morris's last game, and he's probably one of our more important players, we did bring in a new guy from the French League 2, and he's going to be filling in as well. But right now we are 3 games in hand over the third place New York Red Bulls, with only being down 2 points. And our next 2 games are Nashville, who haven't been in form, and Toronto, who have been in horrible form, losing 4 out of their last 5 games.
Yep.
So I think we really have a good chance of getting at least up to third. And then if we win our next 2 games, we're going to be same games played as Cincinnati, who's in second. We'd only be 1 point down.
Wow.
So I think if we keep this form up, we'll be in third easily, and we could even hop into second if things keep going our way. But yeah, that'll just wrap it all up. I just wanted to add in one more thing for the crew and give some context to our listeners here. But thank you all for watching. Please follow us on all our socials. Check out the other episodes, and you'll be seeing an NBA episode out here soon, as well as more soccer content here in the future.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to touch real quick. Yeah, we get Chalmant from France, and we get Azil Jackson, who we got in a trade from St. Louis. He's an attacking mid who can kind of, honestly, pretty much kind of take Maton's role. He's a scorer. He's very attacking minded. So. And it is July 1st, so we can actually register players. Definitely follow us on social and watch on Spotify and listen on Spotify and watch on YouTube. We'll definitely get more soccer episodes out more consistently due to the transfer window being open. Like you said, the NBA is coming soon with free agency started last night with the new CBA league, and then football in August starts up again, so you'll see a lot more of me from the NFL and NCAA. Well, see you guys soon. Peace.
Peace.